Good morning. I'm Terry. Welcome to TARDIS Spider. Today, Season 11, from 3 to 4. Season 11 is the final season of Jon Pertwee, and the season will end with his regeneration into the Fourth Doctor, Tom Baker. And don't forget, November 19th, from 9 a.m. to 12 at the Foley Public Library, it's Doctor Who Day. I walk in eternity. As he prepared for his 5th year in the role, Jon Pertwee expressed to Barry Letts that he was finding it harder and harder to land other roles because he was thought of as the Doctor. With Caddy Manning and Roger Delgado gone, it was time to move on. But according to Pertwee, he approached the BBC about staying if he received more money, only to be told that this wouldn't happen. Barry Letts would later deny this version of events. If Pertwee had wished to stay with more money, then as producer, he would have moved funds around to make it so. The 11th season would open with The Time Warrior, which introduced the warrior clone race known as Sontarans, and would mark the debut of journalist Sarah Jane Smith, who would be played by Elizabeth Sladen. Sarah Jane quickly proved to be a different sort of character. She had used her aunt's credentials to sneak onto the military base. She was hoping to get a news story. Though the Third Doctor occasionally condescended to her, as was his habit in general to humans, she made it clear that they were equals as far as she thought. After their second adventure, she would decide to stay close to the Time Lord. The previous traveling companions, who, whether they joined willingly, stowed away, or were accidentally kidnapped, would find themselves stuck on the TARDIS until they found a new life or were returned home by chance. Joe Grant and Liz Shaw were both paid unit employees assigned to work to the Doctor. No one was paying Sarah Jane, and the TARDIS was working well enough now that she could leave at any time. She would be the first companion who was unquestionably there because they truly wanted to be with the Doctor. After facing a Sontaran, she helped the Doctor and unit against an invasion of dinosaurs in modern-day London. She would then meet the Daleks on what she thought was going to be a trip to the beach. She visited Paladin, where the Doctor and Joe Grant had shared an adventure earlier. Broadcast 10 years and a few weeks after An Unearthly Child, The Time Warrior would not only introduce us to Sarah Jane and the Sontarans. It is the first time we would find out that the Doctor's home planet was named Gallifrey. The 11th season ended with Planet of the Spiders, wherein the Doctor's hubris endangers both himself and others. In this story, a new Time Lord is introduced, Ken Poe. In the 1972 story, The Time Monster, the Doctor had spoken of a monk on Gallifrey who had taught him as a boy to expand his mind and appreciate the small things in life. Barry Letts wanted Ken Poe to be that monk. Planet of the Spiders also has the Third Doctor finally explain his previous changes in personality and appearance as a process that the Time Lords undergo when their bodies wear out or are injured. Starting with this story, the change would be called regeneration. Though the Doctor knows that the planet Metebelis 3 possesses highly radioactive crystals that could kill him, he journeys there to face a powerful enemy, the Great One. Sarah Jane and the Brigadier won't see the Doctor for many weeks before he finally materializes in the TARDIS, dying from radiation poisoning. "Don't cry," he weakly tells Sarah Jane. "Where there's life, there's hope." The Doctor then slumps lifelessly to the floor, but Ken Poe appears and gives the Doctor's cells a little push to jumpstart the regeneration process, ensuring that all is well, but he will admit that the man's brain cells will be jumbled slightly in the process, making him quite erratic. Recalling the regeneration in her autobiography, Elizabeth Sladen said, "The whole regeneration was such a cold affair. Tom simply dashed in and back out again because he was already rehearsing for his debut story. And John, well, I don't know what was going through his mind exactly, except he refused to be in the same room with his successor. The penny had finally dropped. John was leaving and the show was carrying on. I know later on, David Tennant found handing over to Matt Smith harder than he'd possibly imagined. From star to history in a matter of seconds. It's a phenomenal fall. No other show does this to an actor." Pertwee departed, and a new version of our hero had arrived. Robert Holmes had scripted the debut stories of the Third Doctor, the Master, and Sarah Jane. In 1974, he would take over as script editor, starting with the 12th season. After the Fourth Doctor's first adventure, Robots, Barry Letts left the program and was succeeded by Philip Hinchcliffe as producer. To many fans, the Holmes-Hinchcliffe-Baker era is the true golden era of Doctor Who, and it's about to begin. Enjoy your journey through time and space, and please never, ever forget, a child cannot have a favorite book if they do not have one. Give a child a book today. Good night.